If everyone is moving forward together, then success takes care of itself. When everything seems to be going against you, remember that the airplane takes off against the wind, not with it. Anyone who stops learning is old, whether at 20 or 80. Anyone who keeps learning stays young. The greatest thing in life is to keep your mind young. It is well enough that people of the nation do not understand our banking and monetary system. For if they did, I believe there would be a revolution before tomorrow morning. Failure is simply the opportunity to begin again, this time more intelligently. Quality means doing it right when no one is looking. My best friend is the one who brings out the best in me. If you think you can do a thing or think you can't do a thing, you're right. Obstacles are those frightful things you see when you take your eyes off your goal. Thinking is the hardest work there is, which is probably the reason why so few engage in it. You can't build a reputation on what you are going to do. If there is any one secret of success, it lies in the ability to get the other person's point of view and see things from that person's angle as well as from your own. Don't find fault, find a remedy. Enthusiasm is the yeast that makes your hopes shine to the stars. Enthusiasm is the sparkle in your eyes, the swing in your gait, the grip of your hand, the irresistible surge of will and energy to execute your ideas. Whether you think that you can or that you can't, you are usually right. Life is a series of experiences, each one of which makes us bigger, even though sometimes it is hard to realize this. For the world was built to develop character, and we must learn that the setbacks and griefs which we endure help us in our marching onward. Capital punishment is as fundamentally wrong as a cure for crime, as charity is wrong as a cure for poverty. There is one rule for the industrialist, and that is, make the best quality of goods possible at the lowest cost possible, paying the highest wages possible. A business that makes nothing but money is a poor business. One of the greatest discoveries a man makes, one of his great surprises, is to find he can do what he was afraid he couldn't do. It is not the employer who pays the wages. Employers only handle the money. It is the customer who pays the wages. Whether you believe you can do a thing or not, you are right. I believe God is managing affairs and that He doesn't need any advice from me. With God in charge, I believe everything will work out for the best in the end. So what is there to worry about? It has been my observation that most people get ahead during the time that others waste. If money is your hope for independence, you will never have it. The only real security that a man will have in this world is a reserve of knowledge, experience, and ability. There is joy in work. There is no happiness except in the realization that we have accomplished something. Nothing is particularly hard if you divide it into small jobs. Before everything else, getting ready is the secret of success. There are no big problems. There are just a lot of little problems. I am looking for a lot of men who have an infinite capacity to not know what can't be done. A business absolutely devoted to service will have only one worry about profit. They will be embarrassingly large. The highest use of capital is not to make more money, but to make money do more for the betterment of life. Even a mistake may turn out to be the one thing necessary to a worthwhile achievement. The man who will use his skill and constructive imagination to see how much he can give for $1 instead of how little he can give for $1 is bound to succeed. The only real security that a man can have in this world is a reserve of knowledge, experience, and ability. Wealth, like happiness, is never attained when sought after directly. It comes as a byproduct of providing a useful service. The competitor to be feared is one who never bothers about you at all, but goes on making his own business better all the time. There is no man living that cannot do more than he thinks he can. Any color, so long as it's black. As we advance in life, we learn the limits of our abilities. Whatever you have, you must either use or lose. A market is never saturated with a good product, but it is very quickly saturated with a bad one. You can't learn in school what the world is going to do next year. Most people spend more time and energy going around problems than in trying to solve them. History is more or less bunk. We don't want tradition. We want to live in the present, and the only history that is worth a tinker's damn is the history we make today. Competition is the keen cutting edge of business, always shaving away at costs. Time and money spent in helping men to do more for themselves is far better than mere giving. You will find men who want to be carried on the shoulders of others, who think that the world owes them a living. They don't seem to see that we must all lift together and pull together. Exercise is bunk. If you are healthy, you don't need it. If you are sick, you should not take it. An idealist is a person who helps other people to be prosperous. Money is like an arm or leg. Use it or lose it. Speculation is only a word covering the making of money out of the manipulation of prices, instead of supplying goods and services. A bore is a person who opens his mouth and puts his feet in it. I do not believe a man can ever leave his business. He ought to think of it by day and dream of it by night. Business is never so healthy as when, like a chicken, it must do a certain amount of scratching around for what it gets. I cannot discover that anyone knows enough to say definitely what is and what is not possible. What's right about America is that although we have a mess of problems, we have great capacity, intellect, and resources to do something about them. We must learn to live together as brothers or perish together as fools. In the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. The ultimate tragedy is not the oppression and cruelty by the bad people, but the silence over that by the good people. Faith is taking the first step even when you don't see the whole staircase. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. We must accept finite disappointment, but never lose infinite hope. The function of education is to teach one to think intensively and to think critically. Intelligence plus character, that is the goal of true education. If a man has not discovered something that he will die for, he isn't fit to live. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Our scientific power has outrun our spiritual power. We have guided missiles and misguided men. Nothing in all the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity. I look to a day when people will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. The time is always right to do what is right. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. A genuine leader is not a searcher for consensus, but a molder of consensus. He who passively accepts evil is as much involved in it as he who helps to perpetrate it. He who accepts evil without protesting against it is really cooperating with it. Freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed. Whatever your life's work is, do it well. A man should do his job so well that the living, the dead, and the unborn could do it no better. We are not makers of history. We are made by history. The foundation of such a method is love. Human progress is neither automatic nor inevitable. Every step toward the goal of justice requires sacrifice, suffering, and struggle, the tireless exertions and passionate concern of dedicated individuals. We may have all come on different ships, but we're in the same boat now.